fans and YouTubers? It's that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you on day 3 of our countdown to Dak Day, or countdown to D-Day special series that I've been doing. Yesterday we talked about Dak Prescott's touchdowns, passing, not rushing, and today we're going to discuss his interception ratio. Now, he's had it's 36 total interceptions in his 4 years to his 97 touchdowns. That's almost 3-1. 3-1 touchdown to interception ratio. That's not bad at all for a 4-year career so far. That's pretty good. Now, it could be a whole lot better, but let's go through it. In 2016, his rookie season, he threw 4 interceptions. As everybody know, he famously took Tom Brady's consecutive passes before throwing an interception record. And then he went on to, I think, throw 2 interceptions in that one game. I think it was against Philadelphia. And because I know a number of them were either dropped or called back before that happened. So a lot of people say he just got lucky. And he finished out the season pretty well with only 4 interceptions. Of course, that was, a new system. Well, to him, it was a Tony Romo offense. They weren't really looking to do much with Dak at the helm. So when they did have to plan for him, they did a bunch of, quick passes, dump off passes, nothing too crazy that he couldn't handle. And they simplified it for him. They had Zeke running. So they weren't, rushing to use him more of as an aerial attack. So his interception numbers were obviously down. That next season, 2017, which started the collapse of this team, in essence, he threw 13 interceptions. Now, his rookie season, he had 104.9 passer rating, which is pretty darn good. But most people will say that his attempts were pretty low, too. But it shouldn't matter. A lot of passer ratings don't really matter. As long as you are scoring and winning, people ain't too worried about how many pass attempts it takes. But when you start seeing teams going 40, 50 passes in a game, you have no run game or you're playing catch up. Now, nobody talks about that when other teams do it, but when Dak has to do it, everybody wants to jump on him. Funny how that works, huh? But, he had 13 interceptions for 86.6 passer rating in 2017. That was pretty much the beginning of the collapse of the team. Stuff wasn't going right. The injuries piled up to where Dak pretty much got skittish the rest of the season after the Atlanta game. And it just ruined the chemistry that was going on. It just started going south. Dez Bryant wasn't catching the balls like it was supposed to. Terrence Williams was ineffective. Bryce Butler was just not even a factor. Cole Beasley was like the only constant on that offense then. So, of course, he got that big head thinking he should be better. He should be more featured in the offense than what he was. Because technically that season, he was the only thing in that offense that was working. And, his interception numbers went way up because it was too busy trying to force the ball a lot of times. And it wasn't working. It was hitting receivers right in the face, right in the hands, and being tipped for interceptions. You'll see that play out again in 2019. And that just led to a bunch of hate going towards Dak, saying how he's regressed and how that rookie campaign was all about Zeke more than it was Dak, and if you put it on his shoulders without a complimentary team around him, he can't do it. And, that's when the narratives began. 2018, they had the bounce back with getting Amari Cooper later in the season. The offense was pretty much still the same old complacent thing. He had 8 interceptions for a 96.9 passer rating. That season, he knew what he had to go into with that, knowing that he didn't have a number one target at the beginning of the season. So they tried to predicate the offense more on Zeke again and give him more dump-offs again. And they had, that's the season that Wynn took off. So you're looking at no tight end that you can rely on, no true number one receiver, and everybody stacking the box again to stop Zeke. So majority of his passes were going to be the more accurate stuff, the more dump offs, screen passes, whatever they could do just to get the offense down the field, because it was still the same old offense. But now you had less of the playmakers that everybody talks about around him to actually, go downfield, put up those big numbers. But his passer rating went up because he had to dump it off a lot more. Hence, of course, the dink and dunk stuff. I mean, if it worked, why were people complaining? I don't know. It is what it is. When Amari Cooper came, that's when the whole catch radius was a lot better. They had a true number one again. Michael Gallup started taking off, and that led us into the playoff game, beating Seattle but losing to the Rams. I mean, it was a nice jump start. It was okay, but you could tell that we were still the same predictable offense. So that's when 2019 came. 2019 brought with us Randall Cobb over Cole Beasley, Jason Witten back, a little mixture of Blake Jarwin when he could, more receiving threat in your running backs than Zeke and Pollard, and a new offensive coordinator. And as proposed in the first 3 games of the season, we went 3-0. Now his passer rating went up again to 99.7, but his interceptions went up again. Now, that was attributed to more of us becoming a little more pass happy. So you kind of knew some of the passes were going to be deflected eventually. There were times where he was, even though his passer ratings were good, his accuracy was still off, and his receivers still had to basically fight to get the ball because of where he was throwing them, behind receivers, too high, too low. And a lot of times guys were either in position and it just bounced off their hands, or it hit them somewhere, it bounced into a receiver, a defender, and they went the other way, or, just miscommunications, and you're throwing it to a spot where you thought your receiver would be, but there's a defender now standing there. So there was stuff that attributed to it, but every quarterback's not going to be flawless in the season. So I didn't put too much into it. It happened when it happened. It wasn't like the Romo years when they threw a pass, it'd get picked off, and it'd be the end of the game. When Dak did it, it was more like, first quarter stuff. You always had a chance to get back into games. So it wasn't like, the world was ending too much when he did throw an interception. But in all, he's pretty average. He's not up there with the Jameis Winstons throwing 15 to 30 interceptions a season. He's not a gunslinger like Romo and Brett Favre, where they're throwing like 15 interceptions a season. He's a bit inaccurate. Yes, we'll give you that. A lot of times his receivers did have to fight for the balls. But an amazing stat that came out yesterday, and some people did talk about it, was who's the quarterback that had the most 40-plus yard completions, though? Dak Prescott with 16. Pat Mahomes had 15. So if Pat Mahomes is so great and Dak is shit, then what's up with the numbers? You can't dispute that. I mean, 40-plus completions, 30-plus yard completions, and you're saying he's inaccurate. Well, you'd think that 40-plus yards, he'd be a little more inaccurate, but he's not. You could credit him, you could credit the receivers. Either way, he's had more completions than he's had interceptions or, pick sixes or anything crazy. So, you got to give him that. The passer ratings took a dip in 2017. That was kind of obvious with the way this offense was running that year, but it came back up steadily. Hopefully, it gets up even higher this coming season with a new head coach, same offense technically, and a new quarterbacks coach. So, and he's still been working out with John Kitna, through the pandemic. And he still had a couple of those practices on that everybody hated on him when he was doing it, but now everybody's praising every other quarterback who's doing it now. Go figure. But we'll have to see in all. The numbers don't lie. He's almost had a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio in his career. His passer ratings have steadily increased, just like his yards per year. Yardage, I'm not too worried about. I don't need him throwing 5,000 yards a year. The touchdowns, I'd like to see more of. And the winning and losing. The wins and losses for a quarterback is an exaggerated stat too, because that's saying that nobody else on the team attributed to those wins or losses. So you can't really put it all on him. But this is the league we live in. Quarterbacks take the blame for the wins. They take the blames for the losses. Unless you're Dak Prescott, then it's all about Zeke Elliott getting blamed for the wins, and Dak did nothing. But that's just my opinion. Hope you all have a safe July 4th weekend. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. D-Day series will continue. If I get time this weekend, I will make another video. Y'all take care of yourselves on this glorious Friday. Stay safe out there, all right? If anything else happens, like Washington getting pressured by pretty much all their sponsors to have a name change, then we'll get it to you. Right now, they are doing a thorough review of the team nickname. I think they could go with Washington Politicians. Since that seems to be who's really running the team right now, politicians. If not, you can just rename it to what it originally was. Before they were Washington Redskins, they were the Boston Braves. And then Marshall got the team, moved it to Washington. They were the Washington Braves. Then he put on the Redskin name, and that is history. So I don't see it being too bad of a theory to just revert back to the Washington Braves name. It's still history. It's still the same team. All the records are staying and everything, just like nothing happened. I think it's pretty good. There should be no confusion about them and the Atlanta Braves, because you have the San Francisco Giants and then they call them the New York Football Giants. So you can have the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Football Braves. Just spitballing on the names. Washington politicians or Washington Braves. I mean, nobody seems to have too much umbrage with the Braves name. Maybe there was a Native American tribe that was around at the time that you could name after them if they wanted. Just spitballing some names that are almost not stereotypical, not racist, not offensive, but having the same, Native American theme, but is more respectable, if that makes any sense. That's all I got for now. Y'all take care out there. Have a safe, happy, fun Friday, holiday weekend. July 4th, don't be crazy. Don't go shooting your hands off with fireworks or nothing. And take care of y'all selves. We'll see you next time. The Dallas Cowboy fan, out.